Alon, Wasalon, you with the nasty pastor, and I'm back with another chapter read from out of Ramses, the Son of Light, Volume 1, Series 1. We're on chapter 12. This is a part that Ramses is an outing, a scouting with his dad, 71. He seemed to be having a nice time, They learning something, teaching his son to hunt, scout, but with no more, of a long intro. Let's dive in. Before the end of the day, a royal messenger announced that His Majesty will reward each worker with 5 pounds of bread per day, 1 bunch of vegetables, 1 portion each of cooked meat, sesame oil, honey, figs, grapes, dried fish, and wine, plus 2 snacks of grain per month. Extra rations will help the men to work their hardest. The stone cutters made short trenches, then extracted blocks of sandstone one by one from the mother's lode. There was no room for improvisation in their work. The unit leaders scouted and marked the veins of stone for the cutters. For the biggest blocks, the stone was notched. The wedge of hard, dry wood were hammered in a mortise, causing the wood to expand and fracture the stone. Some blocks were sent directly to on-site stonemasons. Others was lowered down steep channels to the river landing and hauled on barges to the appropriate temple construction project. Ramses roamed the work site. Would he ever find words to describe this beehive of activity? How could he keep an accurate record of the expedition's production? Determined to be efficient, he examined each step in the operation, familiarized himself with the workers without interrupting their toil, learned the men's rough language, studied the tricks of their trade. Now you see how they this is a more definite stamp, and I want to clear something up. They're going around the kingdom, the civilization, and checking on these building sites, and also I know that our hunting. He's teaching his son, the trade of being a heir to the throne. And you see how simple it was to understand the movement of the center blocks. Long time ago as a child, the question was asked because these pyramids are like part of the 7 wonders of the world. And I always felt that it would be like your large animals, your elephants, pulling these stones to where they have to go. But it does make sense. That theory was there too, putting them on like a little wood raft and hauling them up the river, because when you see the quarry where they make these stones and stuff, is usually right by the Nile River where that water at. So that makes sense, how we thought, how we made preparations and an assembly line. You see what I'm saying? Because the quarry was way down. Where you make the stones, where you make the bricks, it's further down from where you make these huge structures, buildings, monuments, statues and stuff. So stuff had to be on the assembly line, on a physical assembly line, brought up a river or through a road, so we thought about it all, to make it beautiful. You got what I'm saying? Um, he liked the quarry better than the court. The men were genuine. The stone kept them honest. Ramses left behind his life of ease. His decision was made. He would remain with the quarrymen, learn their trade, live their life, far from the artifice of city life. He would find his strength harvesting blocks of sandstone for the gods. This must be the message Seti was trying to send him. Never mind your pampered childhood, your sheltered upbringing. Discover your true nature in the stone and unforgiving southern sun. It had been a mistake to conclude that the encounter with the bull meant Seti intended to groom him for power. Now his father had shattered his illusions and shown him his true cap, capaci- capacities. Yeah, his true capacities. We're gonna end this right there, and I want to say, it is a good way of keeping your children humble when they come from our royalty. You know what I mean? To take them down to these lesser um, way of life within a civilization you're getting ready to rule, so you can see how the other side live. And it should mold a not temperance, but a understanding of how hard the work is that you are asking of a slave, asking of just a worker you have paid. You hired to do this work. To see how the other side live. It was a time in America back, early, early 70s, maybe early 80s. Um, these um, landlords, you know what I mean? These people that own these apartment complexes up New York, they were slumlords. You feel what I'm saying? And the tenants took them to court. The judge ruled that the landlord had to live in there. The owner had to live in there. You know what I mean? To see what the conditions was like. And I guess it changed. A person. It would change a person's mind state on fixing something that is ran down because you don't want to live in that. You got what I'm saying? Infested with roaches, rats, water dirty. You know what I'm saying? The water from the city is clean, but it's dirty because you haven't changed your pipes. Do you see what I'm saying? Your pipes have in the inside of your pipes have developed erosion. You see what I'm saying? And no heat. In the summertime, no air conditioning. But back in those days, you probably had to go to the store and buy an air conditioner. You know what I mean? But in the wintertime, I know heat was supplied. But people need to really humble themselves. When you have that title. You have that wealth, that other level of wealth that you're coming from or that you built. When you reach that level of success, you have to humble yourself. You have to put yourself in these people position, this lower level of life position, to see what they go through, how they're going through this, how they even making it through this. You got what I'm saying? And that's why I say to a lot of people, if you don't if you don't live the life that person live, how can you talk? I get there are people out here, I'm a person. I've seen both sides. I've only lived, I only lived a minority side, but I've seen what it is to have wealth. I've sat down and talked to people of wealth, of that other level of wealth. And it's how it was explained, you know what I mean? Shoot, you can blow $1, right? Okay, I can blow hundreds. You see what I'm saying? Then it was like, when you get down to their taxes, it's a different thing. When you get down to what that mortgage costs, what that electric bill run like, that water bill run like, that gas bill run like, it's a different number. You know what I mean? So it's not as easy as we think it is. Until you get in a person's life, you get in a person's shoes, then you're gonna understand how they live. So a lot of people, you know what I mean, you misjudge people. You feel what I'm saying? If you can't get to the concrete way of looking at something, be quiet. Shut up. Point blank period. You know what I mean? There are so many different women in this world. You can't define one woman and the whole woman race off of one woman. You can't do that. You get what I'm saying? There are women of a low level of finances that treat you way better than a woman that got the world. You feel what I'm saying? And it's vice versa. There are women out here that have the world, at their call. You get what I'm saying? But they treat their man just as pleasant, just like royalty. You feel what I'm saying? So always, you know what I mean, be humble. Even at this lower level of wealth, this minority level of wealth, still have to be humble. You know what I mean? You still have to be humble. You still have to be cautious. You still have to do something with the blessings that are given to you. You got what I'm saying? But look, you've been with the nasty pastor. This has been another chapter read of Ramses. I'm out and I lay you.